Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to guide you through this one because, wow, we are looking at something truly fascinating today. If you wake up every morning kind of wondering if today is the day your heart finally says, enough, listen, you are not alone. Today we're going to explore this incredible visual guide that reveals a completely natural, science-backed Japanese method for cardiovascular health. So let's just dive right into this because what you're about to learn could quite literally change your life.
Let's hit the ground running with a pretty staggering number, 70%. Nearly 70% of adults over the age of 60 are currently walking around with an absolute ticking time bomb inside them. It's this massive hidden epidemic, and honestly, chances are it affects you or someone you love very, very dearly.
So, that ticking time bomb? It's hypertension. You've probably heard it called the silent killer. And why is that? Well, because it causes no pain whatsoever. It makes absolutely no sound. It just hides in the background until it triggers a totally devastating stroke or heart attack. Now, I know you've probably heard the usual medical advice, right? Take this high-dose pill, completely eliminate salt from your life, go walk for miles and miles, and it's frustrating. It's so frustrating to constantly depend on harsh chemicals just to get by. But what if I told you there was a much gentler, a much more empowering alternative?
Okay, I want you to think of your blood vessels kind of like the plumbing in an old house. Over the years, things like plaque, stress, and a poor diet turn these vessels into stiff, rusted pipes. And when pipes are narrow and rigid, your heart has to use dangerous amounts of pressure just to force the blood through. But look at the Okinawan arteries. Out in rural Japanese villages, it's actually incredibly common to see 90-year-olds walking around with the flexible, youthful blood vessels of a 40-year-old. And get this, their secret isn't just drinking green tea and eating raw fish. Their secret is actually something called movement medicine. And please, reassure yourself right now, we are not talking about exhausting gym routines or lifting heavy weights until your joints are screaming. No way. These are highly specific, strategic 5-minute gestures. They act like a master key, forcing your blood vessels to naturally and safely open up, which drops that dangerous blood pressure almost instantly. All right, let's start our countdown. Exercise 4 is capillary vibration, also known as the Nishi method. Now, we desperately need this one because sitting around like human pretzels staring at our phones all day causes our blood to agonizingly pool in our extremities. That literally forces your heart to work overtime just to push through those blockages. Let me tell you about Dolores, for example. She's a 74-year-old from Sevilla. Every single morning, she'd wake up with numb hands, and her pressure was always hovering dangerously around 150. Well, by using this exact technique in just 2 weeks, that morning numbness completely vanished and her pressure dropped down to a much safer 140. She literally unclogged her tiny pipes. So, how do we do it? The steps to build this into your routine are just beautifully simple. The absolute best time to do this is right in bed when you wake up, before you even put a foot on the floor. You just lie flat on your back, raise your arms and your legs towards the ceiling, keeping your knees slightly bent so you look a little bit like a bug on its back. And you just gently vibrate your hands and feet for 1 minute. Just imagine you're trying to shake water off your hands. This allows gravity and those tiny vibrations to naturally unstick all those clumping blood cells.
Actually, let me just pause and ask you, are your hands or feet cold right now? If they are, even in the middle of summer, that is a prime indicator of blocked capillaries. Pay attention to those physical sensations, because this simple morning vibration is exactly what your body is crying out for, to get that circulation flowing again. Moving right along to exercise 3, touching the sky, or the anti-fear posture. We need this one because our daily, hunched-over posture actually crushes our lungs. It literally tricks the brain into full-blown panic mode, which violently spikes your heart rate and your blood pressure. Take Antonio, for example. He is a tense, 68-year-old retired banker. His chest was literally a cage. He was always living in that hunched, highly stressed state, which kept his dangerous diastolic pressure way up at 95. But by performing the simple Japanese radio taiso vertical stretch, literally opening the bars of his cage, he released his diaphragm and his pressure dropped to a totally healthy 85 in just a month.
So the crucial point here is how you do it. And you can actually follow along with me right now where you're sitting. Sit up nice and straight on the edge of your chair. Interlock your fingers right in front of your chest. Now push your palms all the way up to the ceiling while taking a really deep breath in through your nose. Hold that stretch at the very top for 3 seconds, and then release your arms down the sides in a big circle while exhaling with a massive sighing phew sound. Do that 5 times.
By doing this, you are perfectly switching your nervous system from stress and panic right over to deep, healing relaxation.
Let's keep the momentum going. Exercise 2, the second heart. This one is absolutely vital if you suffer from swollen ankles, legs that feel like lead by the afternoon, or just general fluid retention.
Did you know your calves, specifically the soleus muscle, literally act as your second heart? You see, pumping blood down to your toes is a breeze thanks to gravity. But sucking that blood all the way back up to your chest, that is a titanic struggle. When your calf muscles are weak, your main heart up top has to pump at terrifyingly high pressures just to pull that blood upward. So, here is exactly how you fix that. Just stand behind a sturdy chair for some balance. Slowly raise your heels until you're up on your tiptoes. Now, this is the important part. Squeeze those calf muscles at the very top for a second. Then, lower your heels very, very slowly back to the ground. Doing just 20 reps of this gently pumps all that stagnant, heavy ankle fluid right up to your kidneys to be eliminated, removing an immense amount of strain from your chest's main heart.
All right, we have finally arrived at the ultimate secret. Exercise 1, the towel technique. Seriously, if you remember absolutely nothing else from this explainer, remember this incredibly simple therapy. It is literally backed by the American Heart Association.
To understand why this is such a game changer, we have to talk about nitric oxide. Think of your arteries like a running garden hose. If you squeeze that hose tightly, the water backs up, right? But when you suddenly let go, the water bursts out with this incredible force. Well, this technique creates that exact same burst in your arm, an effect called reactive hyperemia. That sudden fast rush of blood physically rubs against your artery walls, and it triggers a massive release of nitric oxide. This magical gas acts like a commanding officer, telling every single artery in your entire body to immediately relax and open wide.
And the real-world proof is just stunning. Meet Julian. He's 79 years old, and he had severely resistant hypertension. I mean, he was taking 3 different pills a day, and his pressure was still hitting a terrifying 180. Well, he started using this simple bathroom towel technique. Just 8 weeks later, his readings plummeted down to a perfectly healthy 80, and his doctor literally had to cut his medication in half. How incredible is that?
So, how do we achieve Julian's results? Here are the exact steps. Go grab a small hand towel and roll it up into a tight cylinder. Hold it in one hand and give it a squeeze. Now, this is absolutely crucial. Only squeeze with about 30 to 50% of your maximum effort. Do not squeeze until your arm shakes. Just use a firm, sustainable grip. Hold that squeeze for 2 solid minutes. And please, whatever you do, do not hold your breath. Just breathe completely normally. After 2 minutes, let go. Rest for 1 minute to let that nitric oxide flood your system, and then switch hands.
Let's do a quick recap of this brilliant protocol. Doing both hands twice takes only 11 to 12 minutes in total. You only need to do this 3 times per week, so say Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And you might be wondering, why not every day? Well, because unlike harsh chemical pills that just force your body to react, this charmingly natural method is actually training your arteries to rebuild their youthful elasticity. They need those rest days to adapt and grow stronger. Plus, it's completely free and there is 0 side effects.
Which brings us to our final and definitely most important question. Are you ready to leave fear behind and take your health into your own hands today? Listen to me. You are not a victim of your age or your genetics. You have the power to command your arteries to relax. So, I challenge you right now. Go find a small towel, put it next to your favorite chair, and just start today. Prove to yourself that your golden years can absolutely be your most peaceful, vibrant, and healthy chapter yet. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep moving, stay healthy, and I will see you next time.